it's a wonderful school of human development. Music, beautiful. Hello. I want to say a word about this young lady. Kate came with her parents to Boston, drove all the way to Boston, which takes about 9 hours, I think, and came to listen to one of my classes, which I do in Boston. I do them on Saturday mornings once a month, and they're on the internet, and you can follow them on the internet, and some of them have been seen by hundreds of thousands of people, and they thought, their parents thought it would be a good idea to bring the children actually to see it. And they came and they sat through the whole class, and then I invited them to sit in the orchestra in the afternoon in the youth orchestra, and then they came again, and then they came the third time for a concert. Megan, and actually it was just you and Kate. And so I said, when Dr. Healey, who's sitting there, her father, said, would I come? I said, I'll do anything you want. And this is the result. Because what those children have from the Healey parents is absolute devotion, absolute love, unconditional love, and confidence that whatever experience they give the children will bear fruit. About that they have no doubt. And so they're giving their children a lot of opportunities and a lot of experiences, even if it means spending 9 hours in a car driving to Boston. It's a pretty amazing thing. And the other day, amazingly enough, it must be something in the water in Toronto, but the couple came from Toronto. They drove all the way from Toronto to Boston last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, to the class. And they came to the class, and then they came to the orchestra rehearsal in the afternoon, and they had a 6-year-old child with them. 9 hours in the car, 2 hours in the class, another 2-3 hours in the afternoon, and another 9 hours in the car. To me, that's just a miracle. I mean, it's like a devotion, passion, a willingness to give oneself full out to the opportunity of bringing up your children. So Kate is going to play. And what are you going to play? Oh, yes.
The Sonata.
Great. It's Bach. Bach Sonata. Bach Presto. Beautiful. Kate, did you play that alone? Who was playing with you? How come you didn't give her a bow too? Let's try again. Never ignore your partners. Great, well done. You're doing really beautifully. And you know, the answer to your question, how to get people to practice, is create an environment in which they will have wonderful experiences. Whether it's a summer program or just surround them with people and with things that make people love music. And that's what's happened to Kate. She's practicing a lot now. You've made a lot of progress. It's very, very exciting. So that's terrific. And you're getting a lot of encouragement from your teacher and from your parents and from the people around you. And the fact that you're brave enough to stand up alone and play this piece, I don't know your name actually.
Oh, my name is EJ.
EJ, beautifully, you're doing beautifully. The next stage for you is to get inside this piece and give it away like a gift. At the moment you're going through the motions of playing it and we're listening dutifully, but it's not affecting our mood because it's too tentative. So let's add that. And the other thing I want to bring up with you is Bach very rarely wrote the sign of what Italian mark, what it should be, how it should be played. He just assumed people would know how to play it. But he put a sign in front of this that is very unusual. It's a presto. And presto means something very fast. It means extremely fast. And what you're playing is a tempo that he wouldn't have needed to write anything. He could have just played the music and everybody would have played it that way. So the question is, can we try it a little bit more, a little faster, and make it really presto? And you know, you may not be quite ready for that yet, but let's find out, and we'll have some fun doing it. And if you make a mistake,
I'll pass it.
exactly. Okay. All right. So, dee dum bum ba da 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 dum bim bim. 2, 1, 2. That's a great tempo, isn't that lovely? It could even be a fraction faster than that. Should we try a little bit faster? 1, 2. So, dee da da dee da 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 dum, and 1, 2, Now it's beginning to get to them. They're beginning, ooh, they're thinking, this is great, I love it. That's what music is for, it's for people. It's not about you, it's actually for them. Isn't that fun to discover? You can actually cheer people up. She was feeling pretty miserable until you came along, and then she suddenly started smiling. And you know, Bach has that power. A lot of composers do, but Bach perhaps more than anybody else. He can make people feel great, even though their lives are pretty sad. You know, that's what this music is about. It's about terrifically good cheer. And at the moment, when I ask you to come, you know it from memory, actually, don't you? Pretty much. So try it again. Try and imagine that you had that you were responsible for the happiness of these young people. Right? So come here. Right. And just imagine for the sake of discussion, that they're actually all pretty miserable. You know, they just had an exam and it went disastrously, and she just lost her boyfriend, and she's, you know, one catastrophe after another. And along comes Kate with her violin. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Come really close, because they need you really, really close. Are you ready? 1, 2. He's really hard to get to. Should we try the adults? He's had a really tough time. He lost a lot of money on the stock market. I want a little applause for this young woman. Kate, you're great. You're absolutely great. And that takes courage, and it takes a certain amount of freedom of spirit to do what you just did. But you know, people in this room won't forget that. They'll remember that. And we musicians are actually traveling joy bringers. Traveling joy bringers. That's what we do. We bring joy to the world. And Bach has a message. And the message is, whatever you're experiencing, there's always a pathway to God. That was his way. He believed, he wrote at the end of every piece, for the glory of God. That's why he wrote his music. Isn't that great? And you don't have to believe in God. You have to believe in something. You have to believe there is something bigger than just your own life. For me, it's something called possibility. I believe that there is a domain, a place, a way of being in the world called possibility. We call it the art of possibility. And it's a place of community, of love, of connection, of inclusion. That's what I believe happens in that world. And that part of our job is to bring people into that world of possibility. And that's what we're doing here this afternoon. We're bringing people into that world. And nobody's resisting it. Everybody loves possibility. So that's what, and Bach was an ambassador for that. And we musicians are ambassadors for that mode, for possibility. And the worry that we have about whether we're good enough, or whether we pass the exam, or whether somebody else is better, or whether, all that stuff, that doesn't belong. What was present as you were walking through here was just the joy. Just the sense of being fully alive. Wasn't that amazing, actually? And she's 11, right? Isn't that great? And she's going to grow up to be a fantastic ambassador for life through music. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to do. And although she's 11 and these girls are older, I bet they're being inspired by her playing, and by her bravery, by her courage to do that and walk about and play her violin and smile and be available. I think that's how we learn to develop a caring for playing art. We see that what a value it has, what beauty it brings to people's lives. And just remember that sound of the Beethoven here. Do you remember the Beethoven sound in here that orchestra was making? You're not going to forget that sound. Fabulous, powerful, noble, joyful, energetic, full of spirit. So music can do a lot for us. It can be a huge giver of life. And with Beethoven, it's incredible, because he was deaf. Imagine, I mean, he couldn't hear. And he had a miserable life. I mean, he was ill, and he had no friends, and he had no girlfriend, no woman in his life, and he was alone, and he had terrible difficulties. And yet he wrote the most joyful, cheerful music. And Bach is stiff competitor with Beethoven for joy, because he believed unquestioningly in the power of belief, faith. He also had 20 children. Think about that. Isn't that amazing? Woo! A lot of energy. Anyway, Kate, you're wonderful. You're great. 11-year-old, you represent the best of childhood. You really do. It's wonderful. It's such a privilege. Thank you both. Now you bow together. Yeah. Now there we go. Are there any, while they're still here, are there any questions that you want to ask either Kate or CJ, is it? Or me? Anything that you saw and got and would like to share? And then we're going to hear a string quartet. Yes, you moved. This is like an auction. If you move, you've bought it. You didn't?
How long have you been playing the violin?
How long have you been playing?
Since I was 4.
Since you were?
4.
4, yes. Now you can ask, what the hell was she doing before that? 4 years old. Yeah, she's doing well. Great. Anything else? Yes.
How many hours a day do you practice?
1 to 2.
1 to 2 hours. If she practices every day for 100 days and she gets her sister and brother to do the same thing, they're going to get a dog. That's what I mean about paying people. Yes.
I was just wondering, how old are you? Like
11. Yeah. Right. It's beautiful, and there was so much joy in the room, wasn't there? Isn't that lovely? It was beautiful. You felt that? Yeah, really beautiful. Great. And you know, nobody resists it. It's not as if somebody says, "Oh, I don't like that." No, it doesn't exist. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. You know, I gave a talk once in London to 500 school administrators. There were 500 of them. And it was about possibility. It was a talk about possibility. And I do a lot of things. I do singing and tell stories and jokes and, you know, all sorts of things around possibility. And everybody was totally engaged except one person. No reaction. Nothing. He didn't stand up. He didn't laugh at the things that were funny. He didn't sing. He didn't do anything. Nothing. He just said, where did my eyes go continuously while there were 499 people having a fabulous time, and this one guy kept on looking over at this. What's wrong with this guy? You know. So then the thing ended, and I called Roz, my partner, my wife, and was my wife, and now she's my partner. That's incidentally also something interesting. We got divorced, and we became even closer than we were before, because we decided that we were, once you're in relationship with somebody, you're in relationship for the rest of your life. So we might as well make it a great relationship. So we have a fabulous relationship. And she's married now, and he's terrific. He's supporting my orchestra. He's very rich. It's great. Anyway, possibility works in mysterious ways. Anyway, what was I telling you? Yes, I called my wife. I said, Roz, I just finished the talk. She said, how was it? I said, it was great, but what do you think I said next? There was one guy who didn't respond. And she said, I don't believe it. I said, what do you mean you don't believe it? You went there. He didn't respond. There was no response. He didn't sing. He didn't laugh. He didn't nothing. She said, I don't believe it. I said, Roz, how can you? Anyway, that was the end of the conversation. That night, there was a party, and he was there. So I went up to him. I said, you know, I'm having an argument with my wife about you. I say you didn't respond this afternoon. And she said she didn't believe it. And he said, I'm so sorry. I was having a diabetic attack. And I thought that if I moved, I would faint. I love the talk. The fact is, this is irresistible. Possibility, music, love, it's irresistible. We have to put it out in the world in a big way. And it's up to us all to do it. And everybody can do it. Everybody. She's 11 years old and she's doing it big time. So thank you, Kate.